Welcome again to my YouTube channel, the channel where we share organizational and issues in terms of employment relations and human resource management. Please, I will appeal again that you subscribe to this channel and share it to as many people as possible that you know it will help their lives. Today, we'll be looking at how organizations are structured. Organizations are actually structures in terms of hierarchies. Those hierarchies may be in terms of lines of authority. It could also be in terms of rights and duties of the stakeholders in the organizations. It could also be in terms of communication lines that you want the people to just follow. Why do we have to do hierarchies in organization? Is because we want to have defined or determined roles. We want to make sure that everybody knows their role, the power that they have, the responsibilities that are assigned to each and every one of us in that organization. So it determines the roles, the powers, who controls, who coordinate. It shows us also the how the information should flow between levels, different levels of management, possibly from the MD to the to the executive directors to heads of departments down to wherever. If it is in the university, you have the VC, the DVCs, the registrar, the bursar, the librarian. Then you come down to the deans and directors, to HODs, to then the levels of academic staffs and non-academic staffs, and you see. So everybody will know where their channel of communication will be coming from. So I don't need to just go straight to my VC. I need to pass through my HOD to my dean, possibly to my DVC before my VC, depending on what it is that I am passing across. So in your organizational culture, what are you trying to do? You're trying to build a framework of the relations on jobs, on systems, on operational processes, on people, on groups, so that you want to make all efforts to ensure that people achieve the assigned goals or assigned tasks or assigned jobs that you have given unto them. When it comes to our organizational structures in terms of how do we structure it in hierarchies, you either have some of these following characteristics that you should be looking at when you want to structure your organization. Look at the division of labor. Try to divide the job, the tasks in the organization into specialized jobs. That way you'll be able to know that these are the set of people that will report to finance, the reporting order in finance department, the reporting order in HR department, reporting order in sales and marketing, reporting order in technicals, report, depending on how your organization is divided into. So you'll be able to know through the division of labor. Also, through the hierarchies of authorities, one of the characteristics is that you have to know the hierarchies of authority. Try and have a clear definition of who your managers will be or who they are and what their jobs will be. Do you want us to follow through the tall or the flat of hierarchies, or is it that you have to be from the flat to versus tall or tall versus flat hierarchies? Just ask yourself those questions and be able to from these characteristics you'll be able to know how you structure your organizations. Also look at autonomies and control as a part of the characteristics of the things you have to put into your organizational structures. What are those controls? What are those autonomies that could be given to these people to do their jobs? The communication is also very, very important. How do we communicate? Because if you don't have an organizational structure, who do I report to? Who reports to me? So there will be confusion everywhere. So we have to know how our channels of communication will go through. Then the size of the organization too is basically when we want to talk about organizational structure, because you need it as part of the characteristics that you should be looking out for. The span of control, you have to have a clear determination or demarcation of the span of controls. Who manages who? It is very, very important in our day-to-day activity, so that people don't just go taking jobs that are not theirs and then there will not be clash of authorities. You ask yourself, who do report to, who do we report to? So try and widen the span of your control. If it is where you have a smaller number of employees reporting, you can also narrow it, but if you have a larger one, please try and widen it. Then look at the appropriate span of those control. What does it depends on? You don't just say I want to narrow it. Okay, you go to A, you go to B, you go to C. No, you have to look at it in the way you're spanning your controls. You base it on what is the person's experience, what is the knowledge and skill that the person is bringing on the board, what is the nature of the task that that person is going to perform in that particular organization. If you're able to put up these things in places, you'll be able to say, yes, this is what my organization will look like. Another characteristic that I want you to look out for is the line and staff of positions. How are they separated? Because if you don't have separations, you find it very, very difficult to begin to do your organizational structure. So if it is line versus staff, so you are now saying that the line positions are those that will be involved maybe in production of main goods and services, those that will be involved in making decisions relating to production, so you put that aside. If it is staff positions, you'll be looking at it, those that will make recommendations for others, those that are not directly involved in the production of goods and services. You now say that is what I want to use. You can also do the decentralization of authority and then use it and say, okay, if we decentralize authority, how does this work? Who will not come in first? Who will now go last? Who will now be in charge of what? Instead of everything resting on the power of one person, we should decentralize it. So once you are decentralizing it, you are saying these are the lines. It's not that you just say that I'm taking it away from the purview of so manager, but you have to tell us who will take over that job of that person, who again will report. So those reporting orders are very, very important. Then the extent to which decision making is concentrated is another thing you have to look at for when you are doing organizational structure. Who will be in charge throughout the organization? Who makes those major decisions in that particular organization? The person that makes those major decisions should be the people that will be coming up first before you go down. So based on this, to say what will be the advantage of us trying to do this organizational structure, so that we'll be able to know the hierarchies of authorities and events happening in the organization. The benefit is that it allows you to have wider participation. It allows your decisions to move to the closest people for implementation. Because if there is no demarcation of authorities, no demarcation of positions and controls and other things, you find out that people will not have their reporting orders. And if they don't have their reporting orders, it then means that they will not be greatly participating in that particular organization, because they won't know who to run to or who to go to for any particular thing. So it's a great advantage if you do this your hierarchies of authorities through your organizational structure. But the disadvantage of it is that there will be lack of perspective and information and lack of consensus, because some other people, this one will say this, and because other people just believe other has said it, everybody will kind of not be able to put up their own perspective to that particular information that is being put out there. So everybody just, most times they just grudgingly accept it. It's not that they want it or they like it, because most times those informations are already coming down. People have made up their mind that this is the information they want to pass to you. So it's just for you to say yes and start running with it. You see, some owners of business will tell you, when I was starting this business, were you there? I just employ you, go and do what I want to do. So those could be some disadvantage when you do your hierarchies. And then some other times we don't have consensus. I will have a different mindset of what I think it should be. If my HOD and my dean have a different mindset, I find out that there will be classes of interest. Although the grass, as they said, when two elephant fight, the grass will suffer. And so your views may not count into those things, and you just find out that you are suffering and smiling doing the job. And so these are few things that you need to know about it. Another thing I want you to know that this our organizational the structure of organization can take the form of either tall structure, or you can take the form of a flat structure. When we talk about this tall structure, you are talking about those ones that you just put it up, there's one person at the top, and then every other person keep aligning with the person downwards. And then the other one that is flat, maybe if 3-4 people will be on this flat, and then they come down here. So there's no one particular person that is just up there and then another person is queuing behind that person. Maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 people will be on that flat rate, and then few other people will queue behind them. And then you also have the product structure where people try to structure their listing based on their product focus, on their flexibility, and then some other people want to structure based on functions, efficiency, communication will be the advantage of that one. And then some other people want to structure based on their on markets. Okay, let's structure it in such a way that the regional manager for east, regional manager for west, regional manager for south, regional manager for north, all those things will come. Some will also want to structure using matrix structures where you talk about, where they look at, is it engineering, is it manufacturing, is it R&D. So those are some of the types that you can have on it. But the most important thing is that when you have structured, you find that you have a great advantage in terms of communication lines, because communication line will be very, very clear. People will know that this has been sent from the up, and so we should go into it. It also allows for promotional opportunities. When that person that is up there is gone or is not there again, another person will step into that. So there are places that people can step into those hierarchies. And then find out that authorities, whether upward or linear, or this is actually maintained as a standard, because it is already there, so a standard is maintained. And then monitoring and supervision of the quality of work is much, much easier when there is a structure, unless when there is no structure, where you don't know who to hold responsible and who not to hold responsible. My HOD gives me a job, or he can hold me responsible. If the VC gives the dean and dean passes it down, so everybody will know who to hold responsible when it comes to this job. The disadvantage, like I said before, is that sometimes there is inflexibility in it. It's just given, and then you have to pass it down and not query it. Some other times people just use it to like, it's a kind of a status symbol. Let's just put it there that I am the MD and this and that, and doesn't actually have a clear division in the terms of responsibility. And also you find out that when it comes to long chains of command, you find out that decision makings become very, very slow. If the hierarchy is too many, for you to pass here, days and months are going for us to take decisions on issues that affect that particular organization. So these are a few things you need to know when it comes to how you can structure your organization for you to work better. Like I said before, is for you to make sure that chains of commands of communication and other things are working very well. I hope you have learned something new about how you can arrange your organization in terms of structures, what the characteristics of those structures that you want to do, those your hierarchical arrangement that you need to do, those lines of authority you want to create, those rights and duties that you want to put up in your organization. And if you will be able to apply some of these things I've said today, find that you have a better organization where decisions can be taken, and things will go on very well. Thank you for listening to me.